Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 14 of the Anarchy Arena podcast. Damn, all the way up to 14. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? On today's show, we ask the question, "Oh, Billy, where art thou?" Because if you guys noticed, for a couple episodes, Billy was a little absent. Well, we had him back last week when we were talking to Vic, and we decided to ask him this week where in the hell he's been. So we get into all that, and we get into everything going on with his job and a little bit about workplaces in general. Make sure, though, that you stay tuned to the end of the episode for a little bit of an announcement that I think some of you are going to be very happy to hear. So with that, I give you the Anarchy Arena podcast, episode 14. Oh, Billy, where art thou?
We're back, folks. I feel like we haven't done this in like a month.
Something like that, yeah. Well, with all three of us, it's been a hell of a while. I mean, we managed to wrangle Billy back last episode, but since then, we haven't talked as a group in a while since last week's episode. So this is
it's been 2 weeks even since then.
Right. So I guess Billy, where the hell have you been?
Man, it's been busy. I've been everywhere. To the moon.
You've been to the moon?
Dude, yeah, dude.
Did you get a ride with the Space Force?
Man, yeah. I saw Elon up there, dude. I figured out where he works from. Yeah, he's not on Earth. Yeah, no.
Yeah, most Bond villains don't work on Earth. So did you fuck any aliens while you're up there, or was it just...
Man, I didn't see any. No. Didn't see any. No proof of life yet. No.
So, well, I mean,
well, then what good are you? Because that was your whole point for going to the moon, is for proving life. So that's it. This is the last time you'll hear him. He has no more purpose anymore. He didn't prove aliens. So
had a good run, guys. Had a good run.
I'm telling you, man, and I've always said it. If I ever do run into an alien species, I'm getting that ass because I'm gonna be king. I'm gonna make. You
gonna be clapping them cheeks? You gonna be clapping them cheeks?
As long as they don't have more than 4 legs, that's the rule. Because if it's like one of them insectoid thingies, I'm out. No, that's weird.
You don't want to bait, chitin. You want to get through that.
No.
You don't want to fuck a whole hive in one person. Like we've been expecting you. It's like, oh shit, I get to have sex with everybody on this planet at once. Count me in.
We would have to rename him Captain Kirk.
Oh my god.
Even Kirk didn't have sex with the Borg.
The Borg weren't around.
I know, that's
yet.
what I'm saying. Like we
given the opportunity, you don't think he would have fucked 7 of 9? Goddamn right, Captain Kirk would have fucked 7 of 9.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Janeway would have fucked 7 of 9. We're getting
pretty
really
sure
nerdy.
She did. I mean, there were some straight up lesbian vibes going on there. Let's just be real here.
Well, not really straight up. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Nice.
So what the fuck have you been up to? For real.
Man, so I mean, as I guess as most people know, if you don't know, I'm working at Boeing now up in Seattle. And
I've been trying to like not drop that name, just in case you don't want that information public. But if you're gonna drop it, fuck it. Hey, you work for Boeing.
Yeah, I don't care. No, I work for Boeing. I work in BDS, so Boeing Defense and Space. So I'm on the military side. I'm not on the commercial side.
Right, so, which, as Billy's had to explain to me, everybody, before you get all Haiti in the comments, that means he has nothing to do with the fucking 737 MAX, okay?
Oh, I'd love to talk about that, because most people are so wrong in what they think and what the news says about it. But
really, you're telling me the mainstream media is wrong? As a Bernie Sanders supporter, I cannot believe you.
And nobody takes the time to... So I've listened to all of the black boxes. I've sat in the room and listened to them all. I've had the privilege of doing that. So, and the 737 MAX is a good jet. It's not the jet. It's not the jet.
Is it the flight computer?
No, it's the pilot. Dude, pilots are the worst people. So a pilot has to sit in this. So a pilot has no idea how anything works. They just know by their manual that if they flick this switch, it should do this thing. They have no idea why, and they don't care why. which is
So
fine.
it's like,
I guess
it's
they don't
like you with
necessarily need
audio
to.
gear. Sweet, I get it. That's okay.
Yeah,
I got it now.
right.
I got it.
Okay, yeah. So, right. So, but pilots have no. If the pilot has it set this one way that he's going to fly this jet, and it doesn't, he won't fly. So, like for example, even on our side, like when one of our P8s takes off or whatever. So we have our GPS. So we have 3 different GPSs or whatever, and it could be an auto or a manual mode. And auto mode selects the best GPS for you, whichever one is most updated, most accurate, and it's out of your control. Well, it was defaulting to a certain one, and the pilot didn't like that. So he was about to not fly the jet. I'm like, dude, it's an auto. Like, it just picks, like, you can't change that. And he was like, if it doesn't go to this, then I'm not flying. It's like, dude, oh my God, the system works. Like, it is working flawlessly to the point. That's how pilots are. They just will not change their ways. And that Max has a system in it, which is the MCAS system. That is a very good system, and it takes the flick of 2 switches to turn that system off, and that's all they had to do, and those jets would not have hit the ground. But their manual doesn't state that, so they won't do it.
So what I'm hearing is that pilots are no longer doing enough cocaine. That's what I'm hearing.
No, what you're hearing is the same shit that happens in like professional race car sports, which is basically the driver only knows how to drive his fucking way, and no matter how good the mechanics are, if the driver is an egotistical piece of shit that won't change his ways, it's still gonna break. Am I right, Billy?
So, I mean, yeah, ultimately, it's a big conflict of like this system's so high tech, but the pilots don't want to take the time to appreciate it. And in one of them, I'm not going to state which one. I mean, you got a 50-50 shot, but in one of the black boxes that we were listening to, the pilot took manual control and flicked it off, actually did it right, and saved the jet at about 2,000 feet. But his terminal velocity was so fast that he barely had.
At that point.
Well, he could have saved it, but the co-pilot was sitting there reading the manual and turned it back on without the pilot's permission. And at that point, you're so low, even if he flicked it off, he would have lost it. So yeah, the co-pilot is what put him into the ground.
Jeez.
So yeah, the pilot had it. You had it. Like, it would have been. They might have still had to have made a pretty crazy like landing or something. It's hard to predict because it didn't happen, but because they were going like 450 miles an hour, which is really insanely fast for a 737. And that basically makes it to where you're in kind of a flight. Your wings are useless. So
right.
Anyway, yeah, the Max situation though is misconstrued. And like when I read headlines saying I will never fly on a Max, it's not the jet that you should be worried about. It's the pilot and whether he took the time to learn it. Has nothing to do with the jet.
It all boils down to proper training.
Yeah, right. Well, and that is an issue. But and other countries don't, as I've found out recently, do not train like we do.
No shit, you think?
Well, there's a bigger difference than it should be. But
like I said, no shit, you think? Like
yeah. So anyway, no, the Max situation. Don't be afraid of the jet. Don't be afraid of the jet. That's my message, because the jet's really a good jet. And so, and what a lot of people don't know as well is what makes the Max so special. And the reason that system is implemented is because the engines are so big that it naturally makes the jet pitch up. It can't fly straight naturally. So they had to involve this MCAS system to constantly trim the nose down. And so that's where that whole computer came in. And what it does, though, is those engines being so big are so efficient because it can make that jet fly at ease and use very little fuel. So that's the whole point to it.
Yeah, I can see the reason why pilots didn't give a shit to learn that. I almost fell asleep.
Okay. Anyway. So
damn.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, man. I understand, though. I get the reason why you're passionate as fuck about it, and you have a right to be. And also, thank you for a little bit of that scoop.
Yeah.
but to me, it's like, yeah, I messaged you when the CEO got fucking shot out of a cannon. Rightfully so. Rightfully fucking so, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you watched any of those trials.
Yeah.
No, he got toe up from the flow up.
Yeah. No. As he should have. Because I feel like I don't know the guy's name off the top of my head, and
Muhlenberg.
I don't want to get sued by him.
You're
So I'm not
gonna
going to
get
say
sued by
this. Well, I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is 100% factual, but this is coming from a layman's point of view. It seemed like he was just rushing jets out in order to hit a mark, just so he could get extra money.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The commercial side of Boeing is way behind schedule.
It's one of those things you're always behind schedule. What's on time? It's always one of those things you're always behind.
If you're on time, you're out of a job, basically.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's the business. It's part of that business. You're just never really caught up. Yeah, they were behind a little bit, but even the 777's behind. But the customers are still happy because the jets are really untouchable. I mean, an Airbus being the only one that really rivals Boeing, they can't really even rival Boeing because they can hardly produce the amount of planes we can produce in a year, and their planes are wildly different. And if you don't know the differences, you can look at them and figure that out for yourself. But not everyone likes them. So, and Boeing pushes out a much more quality product than Airbus.
I would say with the Airbuses, it's more of a aerodynamics thing because they're so fucking huge.
Well, no, they have all sizes. I mean, they're the same as Boeing.
Okay.
They're not all big.
All right. See, I don't know shit about planes. So
the thing with them is their flight controls are 100% electric.
Really?
No manual control. No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Wow.
That's a dumb idea.
Nope. So if you lose the electrics, you lose the plane. So yeah, that's the thing with Airbus, and that's the sketchy part of Airbus as well.
Sketchy's not the word I would use, but all right.
I mean, they are pretty reliable though. I'm not gonna diss them. I mean, they have a good track record. So, but Boeing's a different beast. Muhlenberg, when I did digging into him in research, he was a really good CEO, but he made mistakes. And the fact that it did come out, and this is a public record, but that he was involved with the Max and that he was aware of some of the issues and was involved in hiding those issues. At that point, you're gonna all these lives, like you're gonna have someone coming at you for a murder charge, dude. Like you're ultimately responsible for the entire company. And so I liked Muhlenberg to an extent. He was a terrible public speaker, though. That's why he got tore up in the trials. He is awful at speaking. He was a horrible speaker. I'm sure he knew his shit. Whatever. I think was he business, finance, or engineering? I can't remember. All the tops are either business, finance, or engineering. That's the only way you can get to the top of corporate. But I'm sure he's really good at what he does. But at the end, when it mattered the most, he couldn't back it. And once some of that stuff came out, you're gonna get it. There's no getting out of that. You're screwed.
Deservedly.
So, I mean, and so what's actually funny and going around where I work, our favorite line is, I can't remember her name. During the trials, one of the members was questioning him, and at the end, she goes, "I don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth, and you need to go back to Iowa."
Wow.
Damn, let him know.
Yeah, and that's how she ended, and so we were just like, go back to Iowa.
Go back to Iowa. I don't believe a word you fucking say. I wouldn't trust you if your tongue was notarized.
Yeah. So we were watching that at work, and she said that, and we all, like, you could hear the silence in the building, just like, damn!
Just a collective, a collective shit.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah,
it's almost kind of ironic. Your company and the one that I pseudo work for are kind of going through the same bullshit right now because the former CEO of Nissan having been ousted, and Carlos Ghosn, he's sitting over there basically telling the world everything at this point because he knows he's screwed, so he might as well tell everything. He's telling people Nissan's going to be out of business by 2022.
It's very likely. I mean, maybe.
They might get bought out by the other half of the company, being Renault.
Yeah.
Making Renault cars? Ugh.
Dude, some Renaults, dude.
All right, Cheeky Breaky. Suck a bliat. Shit. You haven't been in this house all week. Chris has. Dude, I've been listening to nothing but hard bass and fucking like Russian
The
Slavic.
I saw
only
your
thing that's
tweet.
preventing him from being Slavic at this point is the fact that he was born in fucking Tennessee.
Yeah,
That's the
basically.
only thing preventing him from being a
It's so
Slav right
funny.
now.
I saw your tweet and I was just giggling. I was like, this fucking guy, dude.
No. Like me and friend of the show, Count Jacula, were talking about this on his stream, which by the way you can catch every Thursday and Sunday on Twitch at twitch.tv/Count_Jacula.
And you can catch him on this show on episodes 7 and 8 and an upcoming episode.
That's true.
Yeah,
We were talking about it and we're like, dude, there is no difference between Slavs and rednecks. Rednecks are everywhere, man. Like redneck isn't a region; it's a state of being.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely it is.
Well, yeah, I totally
I have
agree with
gone up north and seen rednecks. I've been down here and seen rednecks. I did rednecks everywhere.
even in the Middle East, there's redneck Middle Easterners. I mean, there's,
Hell yeah, there is.
like, you know what I'm saying? We met them. I mean, John, you got a taste of it with
Yeah.
someone at Tarbouche and everything. But
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. It's not just the dirty South in the Americas. It's everywhere. It's it's parts of everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
yeah, everywhere's got it.
So like I've been like listening to hard bass, or as they call it, hard bass, and fucking like cheeky briki sikabliat to everybody, and like I don't know what it is about hard bass, but like you listen to it, you just want to get shit done. Like I've been working on this RPG with Jack, and I've been pounding out pages like there's nobody's business. Just listen to this shit like bouncing while typing, like just
Is
fucking
it in
like,
English?
no, it's not fucking English. It's fucking hard bass, man. Like, no, it's like
No, what you're writing, is it in English?
oh, it was what I'm writing. In
Are
English.
you
Mostly.
listening to that, and you're end up writing.
I'm like chicky bricky, like you got Nick, and like no. But wow, what a fucking tangent there.
Yeah, we're good
You're
at
So-
that.
famous for those.
We
Yep.
are really good at those.
Yeah, we're really good.
It's funny because I was talking to Jack Thursday, and he was like, "Yeah, listen to the episode." And I just rambled like I was on my fucking stream. I was like, that's what we wanted."
Yeah,
Like,
that was kind of the idea.
Well,
So-
that's what we do. Oh, it's
Yeah.
how we are. It's whenever we get into a room, we just ramble. It's like we can change topics like the wind. I mean,
Right.
it's just kind of how we are.
so kind of going back to the Boeing thing. We've been talking.
Yeah, I haven't even
and,
gotten into what I actually do.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to what actually he does. But
Billy just stares at the planes and goes, "Yep,
yep,
that's a plane."
That's a good plane right there. It's got 2 wings, and
Yep, those check out. Yep, it's got 1, 2. Yep, it's got the right amount of wings. All right, we're good. Set it up in the air, boys.
send it
So-
up. We're good.
That's not it. But
Oh, wait, he's got to count the engines. Make sure it's got the right amount of engines too,
And the peanuts. Make sure there's
Yep,
peanuts
yep.
in there.
and the biscotti. Those
I
biscotti.
don't
Yeah,
work
make
on
sure it's
commercial, John.
That doesn't just because you don't work on commercial. You telling me that those military planes don't have peanuts in them?
No, they barely
What
have a
the
working
fuck?
coffee
Why would
maker.
Why the fuck would I even want to be in one?
Wait. I
Because
thought the military
you're never
basically
gonna
ran
be
on
in
coffee.
one.
Listen, don't
the coffee
shit on my
maker's a
dreams,
story,
Billy.
but- yeah, the coffee maker is a real story. But no, so it's really funny though. So real quick, just right before I get into it, I get this all the time, and meeting new people and everything, and they're like, "Well, where are you from?" And I always tell them I'm born and raised in Florida, and then they're like, "Oh, so you're not used to the cold." I'm like, "Well, hold on a minute. Let me tell you my story. I was born and raised in Florida. Went to Tennessee, went to Texas, where it was actually pretty freaking cold in the winter, where I was at." And then I lived in Colorado for a year, and now I'm in Washington. I've seen some shit. Like, I haven't just lived in Florida. Like, I've been all over the fucking place.
You've been everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I literally migrated west. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
You went to the best coast, my man. That's what happened.
Anyway, so I just want to point out, like, I get that a lot. They're like, because I don't mind the cold. I just like to bitch about it.
I mean,
I don't mind it.
You're a
I just
red-blooded
if I'm
American.
cold.
you're a red-blooded American. That's your prerogative to bitch about the weather.
Yeah,
That's written in the Constitution.
I'll
Trust me,
deal-
I've read it. It's
I'll
in there.
deal with it. I'll deal with it, and I'll get by. But damn it, I'm gonna say how much I hate it. So, the winter here is really not that bad. But, no. So, I hired in as a mechanic working on the P8, and then my story I got lucky, you could say, or just I hit the right spot. But I moved up to team lead within 2 months, which was really cool. It was one of those things where they hadn't hired. So for the P8 program, okay, if you don't know what the P8 is, it's P8 Poseidon. It's the Navy Maritime, Australia, U.S. Navy, India, and Britain have all have P8s now, and other countries are looking. Sweden's on the market right now. We're talking to them to hopefully get a contract to build some for them. But anyway, and it's basically a sub killer. It's a sub hunter, sub killer, and it's really good at what it does. It's pretty much untouchable, and it can, without going into too much detail, I promise you.
Yeah, don't break classified materials here.
Well, that whole thing more goes into you have to see it working. That's the if everything's off, there really is no class. It's when everything's on and running, kind of thing. But I don't know. Actually, it's amazing how much information's out there because I Google shit that they're like, oh, nobody knows about this, and I Google it. I'm like, there's a picture of it right fucking here. Like, what do you mean no one knows about it? It's amazing how much shit gets out there.
We have the
military
schematics
intelligence,
right here. Like,
yeah, it's really bizarre. Exactly how much is out there. But what I will say is the P8 is remarkable in the fact that there's nothing it can't see, and the cameras on that thing, I'll call them cameras because it really ain't just a camera, but it's insane.
how many megapixels does it have?
Dude, I mean, so like it's crazy because whenever they do their test flights and stuff and come back, we look at the footage and dude, the shit you can see is remarkable. It's insane. So it's a really good jet, and the technology on it's fantastic. Really cool bird though, so it's a lot of fun to work on. And so moving into team lead really quickly, I was working. Me and Dylan, me and him were the first new hires in almost. I think they said a year and a half. They don't hire very much. It's very locked down because it's a very good spot, so people don't leave. And we just got lucky and got in, and we were the first new people in a long time, and we were outworking literally the entire flight line. So it was noticed, and I mean, it really wasn't hard. The way they worked was slow. So me and Dylan just started dusting them, and like 2 months later, one of the team leads got retasked to do another thing, and they asked the room who wants to be a team lead, and nobody raised their hand. And so I'm in a union, obviously Boeing's a union, and so seniority weighs a role. So I didn't even raise my fucking hand at first because I'm like, shit, I'm brand new. Like, I'm going to get trumped by anyone in the room if they want to do it. But nobody raised their hand. And I'm looking around at all these old guys. I'm like, bro, you've been doing this 20 years. You ready to move up, man? You ready to
that's why they didn't put their hands up. They know the bullshit. They didn't want to deal with it.
Dude, so once no one raised their hand, I threw my hand up quick. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. He was like, you're willing to do it? I was like, I'm willing to learn. And he was like, we're going to talk about it. I was like, that sounds like a good idea. Because my biggest concern, I love my job. I love, just even at AMT level, mechanic level, I loved my job. And I didn't want anything to jeopardize that. So like when I went into his office, my biggest thing was, look, I'll do it. But if I suck, I'm going right back, and I don't want to get fired. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I do, I don't want to overextend. I don't want to try to do too much and end up losing my job.
Right.
So I was a little nervous. I ended up kicking ass at that. It wasn't really that hard. But I did a really good job. I got a lot of commends. I even got awarded to deliver the first British P8. I was a part of the delivery ceremony. And I got to speak to everybody.
You got to go over there.
And I didn't go. I was at the museum here. The Brits came and picked it up. But it was an honor. It was one of the highlights of my life. It was really cool. The shit I got to see, the people I got to meet, members of parliament.
You
3
got
stars.
to meet George Clinton?
So I would never have got that in the military. I would never have had that opportunity. No one is going
to get that reference, John.
Did you give up the funk? He's been asking people to give up the funk, and nobody's giving it up to him. Did you give him the funk?
I don't know what to say to you right now.
See, even Billy doesn't know the reference you're talking about. I know
I must not.
What you mean when you say George Clinton in Parliament. I get it. No one else that listens to this, save for like my dad, hi dad, is going to get that reference.
Hey, fuck them for not knowing good music, man.
I mean, I have a tendency to agree with you, but that's not the point.
Okay, so so keeping on. Also, this is why I haven't been around. Just so you know, I've been working a lot because I love my job, and I've been working every hour I can because, as you see, I'm kind of moving up pretty quick, and I'm taking advantage of it while I can because I've never had people like me or like want to, like my managers that are pushing for me to move up, like are helping me and they've got my back and they're like grooming me and like setting me up for success. So it's like really freaking cool, and I'm addicted to it. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's like really awesome to have genuine people that actually they're not all sharks, you know. They're these guys actually like care. And so but with that British P8 ceremony, that's where it all got really good because I guess I did such a good job with my speech and with meeting everybody. By the way, I wore a 3-piece suit to that. Yep, looking good. And
you own a 3-piece suit?
No, I do not.
Or did you have to get it just for that?
No, I went to the Boeing rental. Yeah, no,
there you go.
I definitely don't own one. Yeah. So my name was mentioned throughout all of the ranks. The 3 stars in the Parliament went to Wall Street and said why? Because they ended up putting in more orders. They all initially ordered 4. They wanted to get to 18, but they got denied, and now they ordered 9. And that was. They said that my name was mentioned as one of the reasons is why they wanted more P8s. And they mentioned my name in Wall Street level and in front of the investors and everything like that. So then I had corporate come down, different members, directors of BDS, directors of P8, even director of Tanker World, KC-46 program that's right next to us. They all wanted to meet me. So I was immediately just thrown into meetings, meeting everyone. They wanted to know who the hell Billy was. Because they just said, yeah, his name was Billy. He's a team lead out on the PA and everything like that. So, and it was crazy. So I got a lot of recognition off of that. And then I got moved into management almost instantly. And so then I've been in management ever since. And I've been, last week, I got to shadow the next level up manager. So I'm level 1. The level 2 is basically the highest that's on without going to like another building, right? Like the level 2 manager is the highest out there on the flight line. And I shadowed him for a week and did a training class with him. So I'm still constantly moving and trying to promote and get up there. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride, but that's kind of where I've been. Like why I've been really distant is because it's just been busy.
Well, I know
it's been fun.
I know that before you got this, that Boeing was your dream job. That's what you were looking for when you got out of the military. You were like,
exactly.
This is where I want to be.
Shit, that's the reason why he got into the military in the first place. He didn't go in the military because he wanted to serve. He got in the military so he could be like, no, I want to work on fucking planes and actually get paid for, for my knowledge. And to that extent, you did exactly what you wanted to do, which is a good thing. I wish you didn't have to go to the Air Force to do that, but hey, this is where we're at right now. So,
it could have been a lot worse. Billy's heard all the jokes about the Air Force. Hey, Billy, what's a bad day in the Air Force?
Oh God,
when the maid doesn't come twice.
Yeah, dude, I love all the Air Force jokes. So like at work we have every branch and almost everyone there. There's only like one dude that didn't serve. So everyone has prior. And it's all Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, just a slew of them. And it's real funny when the Marines start picking on the Air Force, and then the Air Force are like, "Hey, how do those crayons taste?" It leads to good banter, when everyone's cool about it. And it's not really an ego thing. It's just everyone just shooting the shit. It leads to good banter. It's quite fun.
I'm seeing in my head that one Marine that says, yeah, the blue crayons really taste blue.
It's like my dad's favorite joke about what's the difference between the Army and the Marines. In the Army, they tell you to go charge. In the Marines, they tell you to go charge the enemy with spoons. In the Army, they ask for forks. But yeah, like, recently, like, you've been kind of missing, and it's been a little weird not doing this with you, but I understood why. But thankfully, it looks like things are starting to either like
even out a little bit,
or you're finally getting to a point where you can be like, hey, I'm doing something with my friends, and I actually need Saturdays off or whatever, and they're kind of okay with it. except for last week.
Um,
Oh my god.
Yeah, last week that's just me because I'm me, because I always answer and try my best. So I ended up getting
Billy
screwed
has
because I was the only one that would answer my phone. And then whenever they asked me, again, I love my job, so I'm more than willing. Like, I didn't mind going in. I mean, it sucks we couldn't record or whatever, but it's one of those things where if they need me, I want to go.
You're still at that point
like-
where you like your job enough that you haven't learned the fine and subtle art of turning your phone off.
Well, yeah, I don't have a work phone yet. It'll be different once I get my work phone, because then they're not supposed to call my personal phone.
Right.
I'm still working. I get my laptop on Monday. I'm so excited to have my own personal work laptop. It's so cool. So I get that on Monday. I'm super excited for that. It only took like 3 months to get it.
Are you gonna put a big titty bitch on your background?
Yeah, because that's professional.
Fuck being professional. You're Florida man, goddammit.
What the fuck, dude? I'm in management, bro. I wear a tie every day.
Yeah, you wear a tie with your flip flops and jean shorts. We get it.
No.
Right? But come on, Billy. You can't let Florida man down.
Dude, listen. I like the professional side. I like my office. I have my own office for once in my life. I have a nameplate outside the door and on the top of my desk. It's fucking cool. It's been a hell of a ride. Let me tell you though, there's two different Billies though, because the Billy that's here now cannot be the Billy when I go to work. But I like it. It's nice having the separate lifestyles.
Do you think that Billy that we met all of those years ago, if he met now Billy, what would college Billy say to now Billy?
College Billy would probably be like, "Damn, you actually sobered up." Cool.
He'd be like, man, I never thought this was gonna happen. To be honest with you, I'm still a little confused at how it happened, but I'm proud of you. Like,
Yeah, I could just probably see that's probably like, because in my mind I always wanted to get somewhere, like have an office job, and don't get me wrong, I love turning wrenches, but my thing is I don't want to turn wrenches forever. There's a time where turning wrenches is going to get old. And as I get older, I was kind of thinking, so like whenever just management came, I was like, 70 and sunny all the time sounds really nice. So I love it. I love it. And I still go out. I have to go out. I'm pretty meeting heavy. I start meetings at 1:30. Then there's a 2:30 meeting, and then I have a 4:30 meeting. And then after the 4:30 meeting is the first time I actually have a 2-hour break, to where I actually go out to the flight line and talk to my leads and get the scoop of how everything's going and if they need anything or whatever and whatnot. And so I still get out. And even like the other day, because I'm in a weird spot, I have to be there a year per the union rules before I get the title of manager. I don't technically hold the title, so I'm still allowed to work on the plane. And at times they make me team lead if like someone doesn't show up or something and I don't care to do it. So I'm in this weird limbo kind of, but yeah, so I still have the pleasure of both, but once they make it, because once you're a full-time manager, you can't work on the plane anymore. It's illegal. You're not allowed. So that's
Really?
going to be hard, because some of these dudes watching them work, I'm just like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it. Let me show you. Like, it's going to be hard to not like get in there and just like, push them out of the way. But
Because that day is going to come sooner rather than later, where you're going to look at someone doing something wrong and go, you know what? I can't touch it anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been...
You can be the one to have your name on the paperwork when it fucks up. I'm just going to sign off on the fact that I saw you fuck it up.
No, I can tell you for a fact that's never going to be Billy. Maybe he won't externally try to help him, but internally he'll be screaming like, God damn it, stop being stupid! Like...
Oh, well, yeah. I mean... that it's always out there. It's been fun. Most of the guys that work out there are really good shit. There's always the couple though. There's always the couple.
Well, yeah. Well, of course, it's a
that
fucking.
Make me wonder how they even got hired. But
it's a fucking workplace. Yeah, of course, there's gonna be somebody there that you're just like, how the fuck are you keeping your job?
I can tell you the horror story of the one we've got right now. Matter of fact, I think she just got fired on Thursday. Finally, after 2.5 months, this girl just got fired.
Congratulations.
Oh my God. It's been terrible. I haven't ever seen in my 8 years there somebody who's been able to literally stop the line in 2 separate positions at the exact same time.
Sounds about right.
It's so bad, it's almost impressive.
So we have this guy, and I won't say his name. He's a really, really nice guy. Super sweet. He's a sweetheart. He's an older gentleman. He was Army and then retired out of the Air Force Reserves. He's got a crazy story. And then but he is a guy that his mechanical inclination is a little lower than the rest. But so here's a little story. And so his nickname is Bucktooth Beaver. And so the reason that became there was a little nick in a piece of metal in a certain spot of the plane, and so you have to blend it out. And by blending, it's just smoothing the metal, right? Like for layman's terms for people that don't know. So all it is you take either like a little scratch pad or sandpaper or something, and you just blend it. You just smooth it out, make it to where it's not a chunk, and make it just blend it, make it a straight line again or whatever. Well, he goes and gets a fucking 2-foot file and just goes shink, and just cuts a square into it, like as if a beaver took a chunk out of it. And QA comes up and goes, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he goes, "What? I'm blending." "That's not blending. Stop.
That's not blending.
Stop."
That's cutting.
And it's so funny. And he's still there. He's still kicking, but he totally fucked that thing up, dude. Oh my God. So yeah, he's Bucktooth because that was a Bucktooth Beaver blend right there.
If you had to put a dollar sign on that mistake, what would be the amount of a fuck up that was?
Oh, that was easily a $60,000 mistake.
Woo!
Yeah, so just using what little business mathematics I know, if he made a $60,000 mistake, that's probably more than this guy makes in a year.
No.
Therefore,
no, we make way more than that a year, even at AMT level.
Okay. So it's not more than this guy makes in a year. So he's probably got, what, 1 or 2 more of these. So like, okay, now you're costing us money. So bye.
So, yeah, I mean, he basically gets paperwork, 3 strikes you're out. But with the union, it's really hard to fire people.
Yeah.
You can move them. You can
yeah.
move them. That's easier. But firing them is pretty tough. The only way for someone to get fired is to not show up to work. That's like the only way.
Exactly. Yeah, with union, it's like, and it's kind of the reason why I support unions. You can't get fired you can't be fired for not doing the best at your job, because that basically would be like, well, obviously he's not the best person at that job, just put him somewhere else and put someone else in his position. So he's not going to lose his job because somebody was like, oh, he's a fuck up.
Well, and to be fair, he doesn't deserve to be fired. I mean, It's one of those things. If he were to have done that though, and then the next week did it again, now we're talking something that's a problem. But he only did it the one time, and it's been months, and he's been really solid. So, So I mean, I think it's a good thing that he's fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like, okay, you did that. Now you need to like chill, work slower, and don't fuck up again for a while, like kind of thing.
Work smarter, not harder. Man.
Yeah.
Like, I've said this to you before, and I'll say it here on the podcast. I'm really proud of you for what you've done with your job. I mean,
you should be proud of yourself, dude.
Yeah,
like,
you should.
I think college Chris would look at now Billy and go, "Holy fuck, he did it!"
Oh, no. See, the funny thing is I knew he had this in him the entire time. I knew he had the potential, because Billy, when he decides he wants to do something, it usually fucking happens because he becomes obsessed with it, and he will do anything in his power to get it done. The problem is that that part of Billy needs to be awoken and kept awake, and because college Billy would have been like, fuck it, I don't want to fucking fight it, I'll just deal with it. Older Billy is now like, no, let's do things, like, which makes me, again, I'm very proud of you for the position that you're in. I told you this like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, dude, you're doing big fucking things. Like, keep going. Change the fucking culture of that place if you can.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's been a change, but it's a change I'm embracing.
Yeah, because there was a story that you told me about. We were up late one night. and we were talking about there was this guy there who worked every goddamn Saturday. Was the only person that worked every fucking Saturday
For an entire year.
for an entire year.
Jesus.
He worked every weekend for a
And-
year.
And
Voluntarily or
We'll get to that.
okay.
If
Yeah,
John
and-
remembers the story right. But yeah, we'll get to that.
well, you tell a story. It's your fucking experience.
Oh, well, I was going to let you tell it. You clearly liked
Well,
it.
I loved it, but I'll fill in with like my thoughts and comments. So go ahead and tell the story.
Well, this was like my first month as manager, and so I started getting into meetings, and so I get projects, obviously, things to work on, and they let me pick my first one, and I said, and I picked morale. That's one of the most important things in my life, and one of the things that ran me out of the military, is morale. So I thought it was a good thing to take right off the bat because it meant a lot to me. And so
Right.
I was looking over the morale is actually really good. It's not like it's a problem per se, but how can we make it better? So
Right.
it was a project I took on. I implemented some other things, but there was this one instance that it's just a really good example of like how the old people are. This is the way it is. Okay, no, that's not the way it is. We can change it. Like, so this is just a prime example. So I was sitting in the meeting and I was going over payroll and I was looking, and this dude made a fuck ton of money, and I'm just like, how the hell? And I start digging, and he worked every Saturday. He had made more money than anyone else on the flight line because of all of his overtime. And then I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, he works every freaking weekend. And then I went out there and I asked I was kind of talking to the guys. He was on a different shift. I asked the guy, I was like, you know? He was like, yeah, dude. He just shows up. He's pretty he seems pretty tired, but yeah, he's always showing up. And I'm just like, okay, that doesn't sound good. So then anyway, in the meeting, I sit down with everyone and we're doing our daily reports, and I asked my upper management, and I said, why is this acceptable? Do we not have any way to have this, like, can we give this guy a weekend off? And they were like, well, he volunteers every weekend. I said, so you're trying to tell me if I go out there and ask this guy, do you want to show up every weekend? And he's going to confidently and joyously say yes? And then they were like, yeah, he loves doing it. And I'm like, bullshit. So I showed up 3 hours early the next day to catch him on his shift. And I went out to the flight line. I caught him. I pulled him into my office. And I said, you have worked every weekend for this entire year. Did you really want to work all these weekends? He goes, I had to do it. What do you mean you had to do it? He's like, I'm the only one that's engine run certified. So I just do it. And I was like, in my head, I'm just fuming. And I'm just like, so if I tell you that you're not working the next 3 weekends, you're going to be good with that? He was like, I would love that. I was like, get out of my office. Okay. So I go back into the same meeting the next day, and I told them, I said, so to come back to this guy, he did not volunteer. He says he's only doing it because he's the only one that's engine run certified. I was like, we have a fail in the system. I said, he's off the next 3 weekends. No one's calling him. So you better start certifying someone to run engines now. You got a week, go. And guess what? The next two days later, we had another engine run certified guy. And now he's had weekends off. That was
funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah. Insane how someone just takes the time to notice their people and what's going on and how quickly you can change. That was absurd. And that's how you kill. That's how you wear a dude out and your best talent runs. That's the worst thing you can do. Oh my God, that had me fuming.
And that's not just a fucking airplane manufacturing thing.
Yeah.
That's an everywhere fucking thing.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've had similar conversations like that at my job. Like 2-3 months ago, my boss pulled me aside and he's like, why aren't you moving up, dude? Like, you know how to do your job. You do it well. People don't hate you, which is, a plus here. No one likes anybody. We just, have levels of hate or no hate.
Yeah.
It's the factory. So you know how that life goes. And we've had the same conversation. Like, A, I don't want that bullshit. And B, I'm already overworked as it is, trying to catch up from the fact that they won't train anybody and that these assholes won't do their job. Why in the fuck would I want to be put in a place where they're going to hamstring me to the point where we can't get anybody in those spots? So kudos to you for being put in a position where you probably, from a managerial standpoint, should have been hamstringed, and you said, "Nah, fuck that hamstring. I'm going to get this shit fixed."
That's the thing, man. And this is what I told Billy when he told me that. I said, no, we need more people like that. We need people to go into these fucking places and go, look, I understand he is the best person at this fucking job, but what happens if he gets sick or if he leaves or he, gets some type of other opportunity that's paying him or maybe gives him some type of management position? What are you going to do? He's going to be gone. So stop acting like this is your solution and start training other people how to do other fucking jobs. And matter of fact, train this guy how to do other fucking jobs so that he still is engaged with his fucking career. Otherwise, he's going to burn out and quit. And you saved, not only did you save probably Boeing from having to search for another fucking person to work, but you also probably saved that guy's fucking career because he probably was like, wow, finally somebody saw that I was being abused because I had the gumption to learn how to do something and they never trained anyone else to fucking do it. And that shit happens to me, and I work in retail. Like, I'm a cashier, not like 100% of the fucking time in my current job. I don't want to be a fucking cashier anymore. I want to learn how to do other fucking shit, but I can't do it because they won't train anyone else how to be a cashier. And it's like, the whole previous generation's idea of he's really good at the job, so he's the only one that gets to do it. It's the reason why these fucking the reason why our generation doesn't have jobs for, I mean, minus certain people, but don't have jobs for 8 fucking years at the same place.
Well, we have a saying at my job, and I think this applies definitely to you, Billy, and John also used to a certain extent. It makes sense if you don't think about it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's a really bad culture in the workplace nowadays, and that's not the only problem the modern workplace has. It's just one of many. I know, at least
it's a symptom of bigger problems.
It is a symptom of bigger problems. The other symptom is, so same girl I was talking about before that probably got fired the other day. We have a training center at our job, and they have to go through what now is 2 days of the training center, and then they're immediately put on the line so we can vet them, verify them, train them, make sure that they know what they're doing, right? When this girl and the 2 other kids we got from the training center came out to the floor, my boss looked at me and said, dude, I don't know what we're going to do. I said, what do you mean? How bad could it be? He's like, these 3 have the lowest scores to ever come out of the training center ever. And I said, then why do they have a job? He's like, beats me. So later on in the day, I happened to run into somebody that should have had the answer to that. He didn't have the answer. Talking with him for a minute, he's in the same boat I am. Neither him or I can figure out why these people still have jobs. Assistant plant manager happens to walk up at that point. So I point blank asked him, I said, I'm not going to say his name. I said, dude, obviously I didn't call him dude. I said, dude, these 3 people that we just got have the lowest scores to ever come out of the training center. Why in the hell were they not walked out? You know what he point blank told me to my face? This is the talent pool we have to work with now. We have to make ends meet.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to get shitty people no matter what, so we've just got to fucking deal with it. That's not the right fucking attitude. I'm sorry.
It's one of those things where yeah, it's just hard to know that, like, so from like my standpoint of like when we hire, if you need people, you kind of just need people, and whoever applies, that's all you can really go off of is what applies. So, and then sometimes it costs more money to hold out on not hiring them than just to get even a B grade a placeholder, so to say, until you do find the one, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's tough. It's kind of hard.
I understand that mentality to a certain point, but on the flip side of that coin, I see the argument of sometimes a warm body isn't enough.
I can tell you for a fact it's not enough.
Yeah, no, and I do agree. I do agree. But it's just I can see both sides, but I from your standpoint, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally get it. It is tough.
And when Billy said that, I was like, dude, no, go in there and change these old fuckers' minds.
Well, that's the goal.
Blow them away with results. Don't blow them away with like with fighting. Go, no. Not only do I know this is gonna work, I'm gonna show you this fucking works. And lo and behold, has that guy gotten better at his job, and has the culture there gotten better?
Oh, so to follow up on that story, was 2 weeks ago. He took me out to dinner with his family. And appreciation.
Mad respect right there. He obviously has massive amounts of appreciation and respect for you then.
He came up to me. He stayed late because our shifts don't really overlap. That's kind of like on the dot or whatever. And I'm in the office and he's on the flight line. So it's us crossing paths. He was waiting in my office for me when I came in one day. And he was just like, hey, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah, go. He was like, I appreciate you. And now that I have some weekends off, he was like, I want to show my appreciation. And I don't know if it's okay. He was super scared. Like, it was really funny. But he was like, I just wanted to ask you if me and my family could take you out to dinner. And I was like, sure. I was like, that's absolutely acceptable. And then he was like, cool. He was like, well, we're going to go to blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you can either meet us there or I can pick you up. And I was like, just tell me a time and I'll be there. And so it was cool. I got to meet his family. Sweet family. He's got 2 daughters. Great man. His wife's really sweet, and yeah, it was really cool. And I got a free meal. But
like I said, you probably saved that guy's career.
No, it was really cool. And then on the note of changing shit, oh yeah. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying, like, in a sense of like, this is things that I've heard. Is even from my director of P8, so she's like as high as you can get before going to corporate. She's like the boss of all bosses, right? For me. She's a sweetheart, but her resume, F-15 pilot for 10 years, top graduate of Princeton.
Damn.
Top graduate of Princeton.
Yeah, that's
okay. On top of an F-15 pilot, and she's been at Boeing 20 years now and directed over 8 programs.
Holy shit.
Dude, she got it. She has all the respect in the world for me. And she's she's really nice. She's not arrogant. She's very level-headed, very pleasant to talk to, very intimidating because she's very fucking smart. But absolutely, I've had the privilege of being able to talk to her several times. Shit, where was I going with that? Oh no, so even her though, when I was in a meeting with her, I was pitching. We were listening to some things that the military was saying with our programs and stuff. Not to get into too much detail to bore you, but I was throwing ideas out, and I was also saying that we could do these things, and then they were telling me that it couldn't happen. Well, I did it and implemented it, and I was able to show money savings, time savings, efficiency savings, and the customer, once it was pitched to the customer that we were doing this, they said they loved the idea, which the customer is obviously the Navy or the Air Force. So,
right.
And she actually came to me and she said, I hear things all the time like you're doing things that nobody's ever done, or you say things that no one ever thinks of, or the way you approach things is the most positive way, which is really weird for me, but it is true.
That's really weird.
It is true
you.
though. I am so positive at work. You have no idea, because I love my fucking job. I just love it.
I wish I knew what that was like.
I just love every second of being there. I wake up in the morning and I'm just ready to like go. I don't know. But but I hear shit like that, and that's like what I want to do, because the culture does need to change, because there is a lot of age throughout Boeing. Obviously, the higher you get to the top, and then the culture of, well, that's just the way it's been for 20 years. That shit is ending now. Fuck that. That is horrible, and that's a terrible mentality. That's how you don't progress and how the world passes you by. That's how you lose a company. Like, it's insane.
If it was a dumbass idea 20 years ago, guess what? It's still a dumbass idea, if not worse of a dumbass idea.
Well, just because it was a brilliant idea 20 years ago does not mean it fits today's society now.
Right.
It has no place. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck that worked back then. It's not working now. So let's find another way to do it. Like, and don't tell me that you can't. You can. Just figure it out. Like,
because the workplace has changed in 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
The worker has changed in the last 20 years. Like, before, a worker would be like, "Oh, I'm just happy to have a job." Fuck that noise. Now it's like, no, I need something to fulfill me. I don't need to just be happy to have a fucking job. There'll be times I'm so tired of hearing people, like, they'll be like, "Oh, how's your day?" I'm like, it kind of sucks. And they're like, "Well, at least you got a job." Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a job, but guess what? I'm not fulfilled by it in any fucking, definition of the word satisfaction. And I'm miserable I'm miserable working here, and you're getting a miserable fucking experience because nobody's changed anything. And they're not going to change anything because they won't listen to people like me who are just lowly hourly wage motherfuckers because they're so used to blowing smoke up each other's ass, they start believing their own damn lies.
Not to mention they're under the assumption that whatever ideas you're going to have is not going to line their pockets with more money, so they don't care.
Yeah, well, guess what? You can make all the fucking money in the world and and still screw over the worker. And guess what's going to happen? Your business is still going to go the fuck under. Don't believe me? Look at Look at Detroit for one good fucking representation of that. Look at the just the manufacturing sector of the United States at the moment. I mean, there's a reason why manufacturing jobs are going away. It's not just because we're not making shit. It's also because the people that are making your stuff are getting run the fuck out. You know?
Believe me, I can definitely attest to that.
When I don't know if I can say what I want to say. To pay the American people what they need to pay to live a nice lifestyle, and then pay people in other countries what they can get away with, are two different things.
Yes.
And that's
100%.
brutal. And so that hurts the many. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, we need to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. because that is a huge, huge positive thing for our economy and to create so many jobs for all of the people here. But that is the business problem side.
Yes.
Of it, right? I'm not saying it's right, but that's the problem. And the factories that are still here want to pay those other country wages. You know what I'm saying? And they can't. It doesn't work. Like, the standard of living's too high here, especially in certain areas. Fuck, you couldn't. You even if they minimum wage doesn't make it. I don't even know how people work on minimum wage. It's like here in Seattle,
they don't.
Like the people that work at McDonald's on minimum wage or Starbucks or whatever minimum wage. I don't know how. They definitely don't live in Seattle. I'll tell you that. They drive an hour to proper, that fucking job. Like, yeah, it's insane. So even then, it's tough. So yeah, manufacturing side is it's brutal. It's a hard thing for Americans to really be able to do right, because manufacturing should be here and they should pay them well, but no company's going to do that.
No. Manufacturing makes the shit that you buy so you can have a comfortable life. Without people in manufacturing, you don't get to have your bougie life, and people need to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Well, and automation is kind of taking that away. Like, people are like, what do we do about automation? I'm like, hate to break it to you, that horse is already out of the fucking barn. It's coming. You just need to figure out a way in order to give people a better life without having to worry about whether or not you have those fucking things.
Yeah, so I want to hit on one more thing here before we get to the end, but to go to what John was saying about being the little guy, that is, when I got into management, I even told my second, because he was the one that technically had to approve me, I told my second level manager, he said, what's the main thing that you're going to focus on or remember? And I said, that was like one of his questions when he was interviewing me. And I said, well, one of the things I'm going to remember is I'm going to always remember that I was always the bottom guy. And I'm never going to forget, because I've always been the bottom guy. This is the first time in my life I've never not been the bottom guy. I'm never going to forget the little guy. And any move I make, I will always think about the repercussions for the little guy. Because down there, they're oblivious to what goes on up here, but they feel the pain from it when you fuck them. And that sucks. Every day of the fucking week, that sucks. And I've always been that guy, and I've always hated that shit. And just because I'm up there now, I'm not gonna do that just because I'm up here and I'm gonna forget that I was over there. Fuck that. I'm gonna make sure that any of the moves that are made are to benefit the guy at the bottom, because I hate to break it to people, but without a mechanic, you got no planes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, those mechanics are more important than management. It sucks because it's a different beast, but at the end of the day, the managers wouldn't even have jobs if those mechanics weren't putting the planes in the air. And management always forgets that shit, and that is something that it motivates me and drives me, and I will never forget it.
Yeah,
good. Don't forget it.
Yeah, like no business survives for long, anyways, without their hourly help. salary, when salary people forget that shit, that's when, you know, without getting too communisty up in this bitch, when the working class finally gets enough, das vidanya, cheeky breaky. When the working class finally gets tired of you bullshit, that's when your business dies.
It hurts. Yep.
Like that.
And it's coming sooner rather than later for a lot of sectors. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for both you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we get here to the end, I got to give a shout out here real quick. I have to. So we're recording this roughly 3 weeks into our release schedule of this show, and I have to give a shout out to the over 200 listens that we have so far across various platforms. So for everybody who has clicked a link and has sat through one of these shows and enjoyed themselves, I want to personally thank each and every fucking one of you. And a couple of you in particular have been asking for something and requesting something. And I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Next week on the Anarchy Arena podcast will be the finale of Chris and his 7 evil exes.
Oh.
I have gotten so many requests to finish that list.
Oh my God.
It's not even funny.
Okay.
You have no idea how many people.
Good.
I'd be like, when we finish this, I got to know the rest of these stories. When is this happening?
Oh, so people are really
Oh, well-
liking the Evil X's.
People are
we haven't
enjoying
got to
it.
the final.
See, I really like Evil X's too because I lived through some of it. So
Yeah, we didn't even got to the final boss yet.
Yeah, no, we haven't hit the final boss yet. So the second part of that list will be out within 2 weeks of us recording this. And then next week, what you'll be hearing next week will be the final episode of Chris and his 7 evil exes. So for everybody who's been badgering me for the end of that list, next week.
Yeah.
Anarchy Arena podcast, Tuesdays.
And to put a little extra icing on that fucking cake, there's probably one person on this list that I hate more than Chris, that I'm going to be more angry about than, or I will have less nice things to say about than Chris.
It's entirely possible. So
It's not possible. It's happening. I
think
promise
we've got
it.
2, maybe 3 names left on the list,
Yeah,
and
but
it's they're big ones. So it's going to be a doozy. So everyone be prepared for the finale. If you've been waiting for it and hungering for it and hankering for it, like I've been told, here it comes. So with that being said, get your asses ready for that on next Tuesday. I have been Chris the Metal Barrett.
I'm the Extreme
And I am,
Master.
of course.
We've really got to work out a system
I
for
always
this.
go
Jesus
second.
Christ.
All right. All right, we'll just say you go second from now on.
Yeah, I always go second.
Well, he's been the Extreme Master, and of course, I am John the Joker. You can catch me streaming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at John_the_Joker on Twitch. You could also follow us all on our Twitters. Chris, what is your handle again?
I am at the Metal Barrett, and all of our Twitters, as well as the show Twitter, and all the links to where you can find the show will be in the show notes, as well as the YouTube description. So make sure you check us out on the YouTube channel as well.
Yep. And of course, I'm at John_the_Joker. And Billy, I think you're still at Anarchy Arena, aren't you?
I'm Anarchy_Arena, but if you follow me, all I do is repost engineering and science vids. That's what you want to see. That's all I do. I really don't want to engage on Twitter too much.
I'm probably the most interesting person to follow on Twitter.
He's the most active, I think. Yeah, for sure. But I just because Twitter for me, I just like looking at cool shit like engineering and science vids and cute animals and stuff. That's all I do.
And I post stupid shit all the time on there. So
I just follow SpaceX tweets. That's
Yep.
all
Oh,
I
yeah,
do. Every time a
SpaceX.
launch happens,
Yep.
I've got them on notifications. So I'm like, yep, that happened. I know. I'm watching it live, Elon.
Yep, exactly.
SpaceX and porn stars, right?
No more porn stars.
Oh man, you gotta
SpaceX.
follow your
That's the
favorite
best part of
OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's the best part of Twitter, man.
Is it though?
No.
Is it though?
No.
Here we go. That's 2 weeks in a row. We're ending with Jesus, a lot of fucking porn.
Damn, we
We're-
did talk
we're-
about porn again.
we're millennial men, all right? This is what our life is.
I refuse to be called that. I refuse to be called that. God damn it.
I hate to break it to you, that's what we be, man.
I know.
That was
I know.
funny.
And there you have it, episode 14 of the Anarchy Arena podcast in the books. And we finally found out where in the hell Billy has been this whole time, among other things. Now, I told you in the intro to stay to the end for that announcement. So if you stayed to the end of the episode, then you know that next week will be part 3, the finale of Chris's 7 evil crazy X's. And I wasn't kidding when I've been asked a lot about when the last part of that's going to come out. So I hope you all are looking forward to it. That will be episode 15, next week's show. We're really looking forward to finishing off that list and everyone's reactions. Thank you guys so much for listening to this edition of the Anarchy Arena podcast. Make sure you look us up on Google, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, or wherever else you might get your podcasts. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and you know what? Hit us up on Twitter too. Ask some questions. Let us know you're listening. Thank you guys once again so much for listening, and we will see you next week for the finale of Chris's Evil X's.